Hello, and welcome. Welcome once again to the Secrets of the High Demand Coach. And I am here with an unbelievable guest. You are in for an absolute delight. We are here with Miss Marcy Axelrod. She is a 25-plus year keynote speaker, an award-winning author of On Your Game, and strategy and innovation consultant. She's worked with top high-tech firms to accelerate growth and individual achievement globally. Her books include On Your Game, which is a guide to succeeding in a world designed to knock you off your game, and How We Choose to Show Up. They combine consulting strategies, neuroscience, psychology, and behavioral economics to help people and companies succeed. How We Choose to Show Up is already receiving advanced praise from educators and researchers at Harvard, Yale, Columbia, and Cornell. Well, Marcy, with an opening like that, what a treat. Thank you so much for being here. So excited to have you. Can't wait to dive into some of the big concepts in your book because I know they're making a massive impact around the world already. Before we get there, why choose to write How We Choose to Show Up? What was the inspiration for the book?
Well, I very much, Scott, believe that I'm called to write this book. My entire life revolves around this. I started stuttering when I was 6 years old, and I could no longer show up as I chose. So I became an observer, this avid disciple of, well, how is everyone else showing up, right? And then, of course, with the, fury and the stress of dealing with not being able to show up as I chose, I just started to endlessly read and research. I started really diving into neuroscience when I was 12. We're talking the early 80s, before it was really a big thing. So living through that led me to recognize that most people throw their choice away. They're not choosing how they show up. Now, absolutely, a lot of us, Scott, think about, what do we want to achieve in a given day, right? What are we doing? What are our goals? But how often do we ask questions, Scott, like, how do I want this person to feel in my presence? That's a show up question. So anyway, that was the beginning, the stuttering. I was sent to a rehabilitation hospital at age 12. Where it was very clear to me, these elders with wisdom, working with experts and, really good plans to help them learn how to speak again, how to walk, how to feed themselves. They struggled. So it was very clear to me, the message of how to achieve the way that we want to show up. No one really knows where's the blueprint if we all struggle with this across our life from age 6 to age, 80. So did a ton of research. I've got 20 years of my own research. Of course, I reference many, highly accomplished thinkers, put it together. And basically, it's a model. Nature designed us, Scott, to show up a certain way. And the moment I show you, people are going to think, oh my goodness, this makes so much sense. And what a lot of people say is, why aren't we taught this in school? I just had a principal of a high school in Westchester, New York, ask me, she said, Marcy, at graduation, is it okay with you if we pass out copies of your book to our graduates? Because we didn't teach this, and I just came across it. And I said, my God, absolutely, I'll give it to you. So
amazing.
That's how I got here.
So I'm going to have you define it in just a second, but and maybe you might choose to define it first to answer this question, but why is it that we're not taught how to show up?
Why are we not taught? Okay, so 80% of us do what I call just show up 80% of the time. And I feel like society just shows up. So just showing up is kind of, you wake up, you get things done. You're largely in the left hemisphere of your brain, not your right. You're succumbing to the patterns. You're succumbing to everything that the environment has taught us. So all of our society, the messages, our culture, right, that we need to buy things that don't make us happy or create meaning. All of this, there's an entire system that is conspiring to lead us to just show up, which is this kind of default space that we live in. And I think because of that, like, no one's just kind of put it out there. And I mean, the moment people see it, it's going to be so clear. But different people are saying different things that are all pieces of it. And what I've done is just put it together.
Yeah, I love that. So what is it that, how do we show up? What does showing up really look like? And why is it so important that we choose to do that? Will it happen automatically?
No, unless you live in a family that really actively teaches you that everything is relational, that really taking the time to think, what are we doing? How is it meaningful, right? To just expand our lens, because it's not about a given action, which is a very narrow, small thing. It's about the meaning of the action, why we're doing it, and its import to others. So we aren't going to naturally happen upon this. Basically, the model, right? So nature designed us in 3 roles. We're not in 1 role. We're in 3 at all times. Okay. And this is a fundamental about nature, right? We aren't just cells. When you picture a human, even back when we lived in caves, our 3 roles, we are cells, yes, but we're also in a situation. There's always something going on. And that thing is what leads us often to do what we do, to feel what we feel, and to think what we think. So the role of being a member of a situation, even if we're just laying in bed, that literally designs a lot of what we choose to do, think, and feel. Beyond that, member of something larger. I call it society. You can think of it as a family, a company, a sports team, a neighborhood, a religious group, an ethnic group, a racial group. We're a member of something larger than us. Self-situation, society, those are our 3 roles. And you might say, well, Marcy, so what, right? Why does it matter? It matters because when you understand what a self truly is, which is not what you think, what a situation truly is, and what society really is, like, all of them just design us. And when we understand how that works, we can then show up to them in a skilled way. Yeah. So every role has a skill. You want to be grounded in yourself. What does that mean? Know who you are and why. And I've got a chapter on this. What does it mean to be a member of a situation? What it means is that you recognize there's this reverberative process. So Scott, right now, the way you are listening to me, the way you are looking at me, it's changing my chemistry. It's changing my physiology. It's changing how I sit. It's changing what it's almost designing what I'm choosing to say. So we are co-creating each other now. That's just a little taste of what a situation is. When you think about that, are you going to show up to someone the same way now that you know this? Right. And that's just 10 seconds worth of insight into what's really going on. You're not going to show up the same way again to your kids, to your spouse, to your work, to an idea. Because now you know that you change the idea the moment you interact with it. And this, by the way, physics, it's quantum physics. We all know this, right? Electrons far apart mimic each other's actions. We're the same way, right? Our societal role as well. But the point is, we need to understand what the roles are and the skills. The skill for the situational role is being ready. But what does that mean? What does it mean to be ready? Maybe it's something you've planned, but maybe it's impromptu. Let's face it, 99% of what goes on, we didn't plan. It's right. Part of it just happened. And then the skill for our societal role, it's being connected with intent to serve. The word I put on it is all-intelligent. Why? Because intelligence makes no sense. The skills and knowledge, Scott, that we need to succeed, are they all inside of us? No, right? Are they inside of us? No, it's not in like the books and movies out there. It's in all. It's in the universe. It's in nature. So nature designed us to move through life in these three roles. And once we understand that, here, I put some really simple little visuals on it. Oh, and then there's a level of showing up. You know, nature, everything has inherent levels. 1, 2, 3. At every moment, you're either barely there, you're just showing up, which 80% of us do 80% of the time, or you're fully showing up. And I got a chapter each explaining what is barely there. When is it acceptable to be there?
Yeah.
What is just showing up? When is it acceptable to be there? And like 50+% of the time, we're going to just show up. Let's just accept it. But what are the few times each day when you really want to truly show up, and how do you actually do that? So what I want people on your podcast to leave with is, we bounce around this continuum all day long, and everyone and everything does.
Yeah.
Because showing up isn't a peripheral feature of our operating system, Scott. It's our defining characteristic.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right? And you can walk outside and just look and know they're just showing up. They're just showing up. They're truly, right? Because you can see how someone's attending to their moments.
Yeah.
Anyway, it's more right hemisphere, and I can get into that another time. I mean, in 20 minutes, we aren't going to get there, but
it's so good. Now, there's I want to dive in. One, I just love the idea that it is okay to show up in these three modes, but it's about choosing the right mode to show up for the right time. And I want to dial in particularly on those times when we need to show up, when we need to choose to show up. Yeah. How do you, as we're looking at our day, lots of founders, leaders listening to this, they're they're getting ready for a full day. How do they look at their day and say, what are those moments that I really need to make sure that I'm making the choice?
Absolutely. So life is relational. Everything is relational. When you really get down to it, it's not about a topic, it's about the person, right? And so the moments that I recommend founders and really all people focus on are the ones when you're with a human being who you care about and who you want to move forward in a kind of productive, meaningful way with. If it's a colleague at work and you think, this is just someone I work with, this is not my kid, my spouse, right? What you need to do is see them as a human being, right? And one of the main things that people tell me makes all the difference when it comes to really understanding, choosing how we show up, is the reality that we interact largely with people as objects. Why? Because we're stuck in one of four things. We're feeling either better than, we're feeling less than, we're feeling like I deserve, or it's I need to be seen as. That's a huge one. These are actually the categories from the Arbinger Institute. I find them so useful. When we're in any of those modes, we're justifying that in some way. And then everyone around us becomes an object that we want to control because we need them to view us a certain way or to do something for us. So I'm going to show you a continuum in the book here that explains when you choose your person or whatever you want to get done with them, and I'll send you this. It shows how when we're barely there, we're in our self mode. We have low grounding ourselves, low readiness for our situations, and low intelligence in our broader roles. But it's a self-focus. But as we move through just showing up to truly showing up, we go through noticing and then tuning in.
Right.
And then here's the key where we're really effective. We get to feeling with and enacting care. And that is the continuum of how we go from just showing up to like from manipulating the world, which is what we do way too often, even without knowing it, to truly enacting care for others. And they feel that. And the moment they feel that, guess what? Now they hear you, maybe for the first time.
Yeah.
Now they hear you.
Yeah.
And because they care about you, even if it's something that they like disagree with, if it's a political thing, they're more likely to ask you a question about it and to truly want to understand. That is the holy grail.
Yeah, it's so good. Now, there's a question, and I think this is an excellent opportunity to kind of bottle this up, but there's a question I like to ask all my guests. It is this. What would you say is the biggest secret that you wish wasn't a secret at all? What's that one thing you wish everybody watching or listening today knew?
Yeah. No, we have a choice. We matter. Everything we do matters tremendously because it goes 3 people deep into society, like those ripples out. Make your choice. And if you want help doing it, what showing up truly is, the book is now a bestseller. I totally recommend it. The ebook's 99 cents. Obviously, the soft cover is out there, but make your choice and know that your choice tremendously matters on the global landscape.
It is so true. It's so true. So, folks, you mentioned this. We'll just make sure that folks know where they can get a copy. They want to dive deeper. They want to learn more. Maybe even check out some of your other books as well. Where can they find you and your books? How can they connect with you?
Sure. Well, Amazon has the book, How We Choose to Show Up, and the website is by that same. The website is choosetoshow-up.com. There's a contact me button. I love hearing from folks. So be in touch.
Brilliant. Marcy, just fantastic. So many years of work, and it shows. There's just a clarity and an insight and just a compelling narrative running the whole way through it. Absolutely love the continuum and everything that it does to both change the way that we think and show up and do it in a really practical and helpful way. So thank you so much. Loved every minute of it. For those of you watching or listening, you know that your time and attention mean the world to us. I hope you got as much out of this conversation as I know I did, and I cannot wait to see you next time. Take care.